Hello and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about the Hive Fleet adaptations for Kill Team Elites. Before we begin, if you'd like to see more videos like this one, please hit the subscribe button and destroy the bell button so that you never miss an upload. So, what does it say? It says the sub-factions for models with the Tyranids faction keywords are called Hive Fleets. The sub-faction abilities are called Hive Fleet adaptations. If your kill team is Battleforged and all the models in your kill team are drawn from the same Hive Fleet, models in the kill team gain the Hive Fleet adaptation described below. And you can use the Hive Fleet's tactics. If you are using a Splinter fleet rather than a Hive Fleet, use the Fleet adaptation of its parent Hive. For example, Court of the Nephilim King is a Splinter Fleet of the Hive Fleet Behemoth. You should use Behemoth Hive Fleet adaptation. If you're unsure of a Splinter Fleet's parent's Hive Fleet, either consult the background sections of our books or choose the adaptation from those below which describes its character and fighting style. So unlike the other ones, unlike the other ones, there's no like Gretchen or basically anything that wouldn't be part of the list. They're all Tyranids, basically. It says the first one we're going to look at is Behemoth. Behemoth. We'll say Behemoth. Hyper aggression. Driven by a frenzied hunger, Hive Fleet Behemoth unleashes the full might of its swarms in an overwhelming frontal assault. It says, the rules-wise, you can reroll charge rolls for models in your kill team. Now, I believe your Gene Stealers will be doing that anyway. However, they do lose the ability if they have the extended carapace. However, that would be okay if you have the Behemoth rules, because you could then have a 4-up save, a 5-up invulnerable save, plus you'd be able to reroll charges as well. So that actually make them really cool for Gene Stealers themselves, and make them quite good at charging in as well. However, I have played games where the Gene Stealers haven't done very well, even with rerolls of charges, but maybe that was my inability to get in close, who knows. So, I suppose we'll move. Can't clear my throat today again. Kraken. We'll move on to the Kraken. Questing tendrils. The Kraken harries and unbalances its foes with lightning-fast flanking attacks before encircling them for the final bloody massacre. Yep. When a model from your kill team advances, roll 3d6 instead of 1, and pick the highest to add to the move characteristic of that model for the movement phase. In addition, if a model in your kill team started the movement phase within 1 inch of an enemy model, but when you pick it to move, there are no enemy models within 1 inch, that model can make a charge attempt instead of falling back or remaining stationary. So the first bit, rolling 3 dice instead of 1, picking the highest, is pretty good, meaning that obviously if you're advancing and bombing around the board, then you will in fact be able to go a lot faster. Obviously you're still only moving plus 1d6, so if you've got a movement of 6 inches, you still can only move up to 12. Not definitely, but it's going to make that slightly more likely. The second part would be if, as it says, if you started the movement phase within 1 inch of an enemy model, but when you pick it, it's not within 1 inch of a model. That would mean if someone else has retreated or done some shenanigans or died, basically, it means that you're not just gimped and sitting about. You can actually move back or you can attempt to charge. But you can fall back and you can remain stationary. So it gives you an extra level of. It depends who you're going against. If you are going against someone who you know is going to be doing some sneaky little tactics, you can get away with it. So it's okay, and it means your models are going to move faster. But so far, I'm thinking that Behemoth is slightly better. We'll read the next lot. Leviathan. Synaptic Imperative. The Hive Fleet synaptic network is so strong that its organisms can be compelled by the hive mind to fight on in spite of injuries that should have crippled or slain them outright. It then says, roll a d6 each time a model in your kill team loses a wound, whilst it's within 6 inches of a friendly synapse model. On a 6, the damage is ignored and the model does not lose a wound. In addition, models in your kill team that are within 6 inches of a friendly synapse model do not suffer penalty to their hit rolls from 1 flesh wound they have suffered. So it's okay. I believe, I might be wrong, but it's within 12 inches or 24 inches, or maybe even 18 inches. I'm getting all the rules wrong for the synapse special rules, so you'd have to be even closer. So that I'm not keen on it being 6 inches, because some models, like I believe it's the orc snake bites, they get on a 6+ flat out, regardless of being within synapse. And I appreciate that they're trying to be fluffy about it, but it feels a bit like a punishment. Maybe, I don't know. I've never actually played pure Tyranids with any synapse short of Gene Stealers, so we'll see. I could in fact be quite wrong about that. It might actually be a really good rule, and I could be wrong. However, I think the one thing that is good is the not suffering the -1 from 1 flesh wound. So it basically makes them into Space Marines within 6 inches of your guys. I mean, stacking with the other stuff, the other Tyranid things, then it's kind of okay. I still think, so far, the Behemoth Hyper Aggression reroll charge rolls for your models in your kill team seems to be, out of these 3, but again, I've been wrong plenty of times. Tell me in the comments down below if you think I'm incredibly wrong. Right, I guess we'll move on to Gorgon. Adaptive Toxins, gosh. The toxins produced by Hive Fleet Gorgon swarm creatures adapt with terrifying speed to any foe, agonizing and ravaging the bodies of their unfortunate victims. The rules are, you can reroll wound rolls of 1 in the fight phase for attacks made by models in your kill team. Which is good, to be honest. Obviously, there's no real confusion here. If you're running a team, it's probably going to be a combat-based one, because obviously it says the fight phase, rerolling 1s. However, again, I think if you've got loads of little bugs, right, in your kill team, relatively speaking, up to 20, you're probably going to be playing Gorgon, maybe. But the rerolling of charge rolls for the Behemoth is probably going to be closer to, like I said, Gene Stealers with carapace armor, that kind of thing. It's good. It is good. You can build a tactic. You can build tactics around it. It's not passive, like the random possible 6-up feel no pain within 6 inches. Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't quite +1 to your weapon skill, to your strength, I should say. But it does get close to it, I suppose, because you can re-roll it and try again. The next one along is a very disputed pronunciation. I go with Yamaganda, and it does annoy me when people say random stuff that doesn't even sound. It's like, well, okay, right, so I'm going off on a massive tangent here, so hear me out. It annoys me, and there's a specific YouTuber, right? Great YouTuber. Bit jealous of his success, but anyway, well, he refers to Lehman Russes as Layman Roos and Chimeras as Shimmerer, and there's other words that he annoys me with, and it really does, it grates on me rather so. Now, I appreciate I don't speak too good most of the time, but usually pronunciation most of the time I have right. Anyway, now I've got off my high horse. Now I appreciate that means I've got problems with my character. I get that. Anyway, shut up. Yamaganda Tunnel Networks. The warrior organisms of Hive Fleet Yamaganda attack from subterranean tunnels, making them extremely difficult to target until it is far too late. The rules for Yamaganda. say models in your kill team other than models that can fly are considered to be obscured to enemy models that target them. If the model advances or charges, however, it loses the benefit until the end of the battle round. So, Yamaganda. How would you play it? You would probably play it more likely with a, I don't know. I mean, it is a good passive ability, right? It really is, because it means everyone's going to be on a -1 to hit, which is always good. So Space Marine's going to be hitting like Guard are going to be hitting like Orcs, and Orcs are going to be hitting like Orcs anyway, mostly on 6s. Where was I? Yes, so I was talking about Yamaganda, and I believe I said it's a good passive ability. Yeah, -1 is always good when you're playing in kill team to hit. So that is actually going to be, if you can't think of another rule to play for any tactic, that one's always going to be a good one. Obviously, unless it charges or advances. So if you've got high move characteristic, in this book I believe you can use Raveners and Lictors. I think I've got a good move characteristic, and so Gene Stealers. You don't have to advance, but you could advance most of the time, so you probably, would you go for it? I don't know. It's a good rule, basically. We'll move on to Hydra, and their rule is Swarming Instincts. Hive Fleet Hydra super swarms overwhelm their prey with sheer weight of numbers, drowning them in a tide of chitin, flesh, and slashing claws. You can reroll hit rolls in the fight phase for attacks made by models in your kill team that target an enemy model that is in 1 inch of another model from your kill team. So that means it's not just ones, you reroll hit rolls all together. So as long as you're buddying up your guys and you're just sending them in together, this is actually really quite good. So combat-wise, how would you play it? Obviously, it says Swarming Instincts, so you could definitely send in a lot of Hormigants. Yeah, send a lot of Hormigants in together, and then, which you're probably going to be doing anyway if you're playing Hormigants. So Hydra is a good one for that. Yeah, I think that's good. Really good, actually. I'm sure there's other rules that can stack with it. Because obviously, if you've got combat specialists, they're going to get extra attacks. If you're going to have some nasty weapons, to be honest, right, I don't think the Tyranids have a specific nasty weapon like power sword, not power swords, power fists and power claws and stuff that could really benefit from that more specifically. But if you think about it, if you've got, right, this is in the extreme, right, let's say you've got 6 Hormigants on one model, you can reroll all failed attacks, so you're going to have a natural avalanche of dice, to be honest, which is pretty good. We'll move on to Kronos, a Bio Barrage. Hive Fleet Kronos obliterates its foes at range by unleashing devastating barrages of bioplasma and living missiles. The rules say reroll unmodified hit rolls of 1 in the shooting phase for models in your kill team if they have not moved in this battle round. So, again, it's a good one. You can reroll hit rolls of 1, so if you're already hitting on 4s, it's going to be closer to hitting on 3s, but not dead on. But I suppose it is actually better, if you think about it, right? So rerolling 1s, okay? So if you've got a -1 or a -2, you're already hitting on 4s, you're going to be hitting on 6s, right? So you've got a 6. No, it isn't actually better, because even if, sorry, I do this all the time. If you've got a better ballistic skill, it would just be -1 off that, right? So if there was some insane rule that made you -3, you're going to be hitting on 6s anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's the only exception. So if you was like extreme length, they had a -1 to hit them, or -2, then your Space Marines would be no better than a Termagant rerolling 1s. Termagants would actually be better in that respect. Obviously, they have their own rules where you might be able to reroll 1s, so we'll go on to that another day, or maybe later today for me. Yeah, anyway, so now I've rambled on about other kill teams. Obviously, this will be favouring shooty, stand and shooty kill teams, basically. You could get some Devil Gaunts into position and reroll hit rolls of 1, which is pretty good. However, I think this is probably going to favour... should I have a little look at the rules? Basically, there is... So you can get Tyrant Guard and you can get Raveners, and there's the other one as well. Tyrant Guard and it's a Hive Guard. So one of them's really good at shooting, and you can shoot far away and where you can't see as well. So you can reroll them hit rolls of 1, which is pretty good. Which do I think is the best? I think if you go in combat, you would either go... Behemoth is pretty epic. Even though it's really simple, rerolling charge rolls for models in your kill team is really good. Especially if you've got a good move distance. Obviously, you still can only charge within 12 inches. You can still only charge in a movement phase. It's still pretty good as a passive ability. As I said before, you can build Gene Stealers with the 4-up save, 5-up invulnerable save, and you would also be able to reroll charge rolls. Pretty good. Gorgon's alright. Reroll wound rolls. If you've got loads of little bugs, that's good, because you would have a basically makes them like they're stronger but not quite. Shooting, obviously Kronos is good. I think there's a lot of mainly based towards combat, so I don't know which one's the best one, but which one would I play more specifically? Depending on what you bring, really, isn't it? Always. But let's be decisive here. I think my favourite would probably be the... Well, I said to be decisive, and that can't be. All of a sudden. Okay. Speed, go for Kraken. They're rerolling 3 dice to advance. Good. So I don't like Leviathan. Again, I could be wrong, but I think it's way too passive. Within 6 inches on a 6. And the -1 to your flesh wounds. But if you're building a swarm, the Hydra's good. Rerolling attacks. Obviously, if you're attacking, Yamaganda is good for any and all. But if you've got loads of swarms, your termagants, if you bring in loads of them, or hormigants, are going to be harder to hit. So my favourite, I would probably go for the... Sorry, let me pause it whilst I make a decision. So I made my mind up. I'm going to go with Yamaganda as an overall good one because of the -1 to hit, which is pretty good. If you go in combat, I'd say probably Behemoth. If you build in full Gene Stealers, that is, because you can bring on your 4-up save and your 5-up invuln and the other thing. I've said that about 50 times this video. Beyond that, if you're going shooting, I would say the Kronos, to be honest. So, but again, Yamaganda's pretty good for shooting too. I think we'll end the video there because it's gone on a little bit long. If you agree, disagree, put comments in down below. If you haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing, and thanks again for watching. Thank you.